Hong Kong is a city of perpetual momentum. It is a towering vertical fortress of glass and steel, where millions of people navigate a high-speed landscape defined by commerce, crowds, and noise. But to understand the physical and spiritual anomaly hiding just outside the city center, we have to rewind to the 1950s. Even then, the streets were dense, loud, and relentless, a baseline of urban pressure that drove one monk to seek higher ground. Look past the modern skyline of Sha Tin, directly behind a sprawling IKEA and a block of government offices, and you will find an 8-hectare sanctuary carved right into the hillside. There are no grand gates or prominent tourist signs pointing the way. To find the entrance, you have to navigate an unmarked camouflaged path, squeezed tightly between a metal fence and a row of quiet village houses. If you aren't actively looking for it, you will walk right past it. This obscurity acts as a physical filter. It strips away casual foot traffic and ensures that anyone who arrives at the base of the mountain is on a deliberate, intentional pilgrimage. Once you find the path, the real work begins. The route demands a grueling climb up 430 steep concrete steps, cutting sharply up the severe incline of Po Fook Hill. But you do not make the climb alone. The entire ascent is flanked by 500 life-sized golden statues of Arhats, enlightened disciples of Buddha, standing guard on both sides of the stairs. No two of these figures are alike. As you step up, you pass solemn scholars and fierce warriors, and deeply bizarre, jovial figures with exaggerated features. Some carry animals, others wield weapons, and some simply laugh at the sky. The physical toll of the climb serves a highly specific purpose. As your heart rate spikes and your lungs burn, the mental static of the city below is slowly forced out of your mind. This steep, exhausting stairway is a psychological shedding process. It demands a literal payment of sweat and exertion in exchange for the quiet waiting at the top. The architect of this gauntlet was Venerable Yuet Kai, a devout monk who arrived in Hong Kong in the late 1930s. He conceptualized this entire complex without a single dollar of financial backing from the state. To realize his vision in the 1950s, Yuet Kai and his followers carried the raw building materials up those same 430 steps by hand, hauling everything from the base of the mountain to the summit. That construction was precarious because Po Fook Hill is geographically hostile. This cross-section demonstrates the threat of torrential rain. Water penetrates the weathered granite soil, increasing pore pressure and destabilizing the slope. In July 1997, this vulnerability reached a breaking point. A massive landslide tore through the hillside, burying an annex building and claiming a life. Yet the core of the monastery endured, much like its creator. 8 months after Yuet Kai passed away in 1965, his followers exhumed his body. They found it completely intact. He was embalmed, covered entirely in gold leaf, and sealed in a glass case in the lotus position, where he remains today. The site has survived devastating natural disasters and decades of punishing weather, standing as a physical manifestation of the singular, unbreakable willpower of the man who built it. Finally breaking through to the summit plateau, the true architectural scale of the complex reveals itself, an expansive terrace housing 5 temples, 4 pavilions, and a towering 9-story pagoda. It is here you realize the name 10,000 Buddhas is actually a modest undercount. In Cantonese, the phrase translates more loosely to a large number. Lining the walls of the main hall are nearly 13,000 individual miniature statues. But despite the staggering scale and religious density, you won't find a single resident monk here. The monastery is managed entirely by laypersons. Without a strict monastic order dictating the design, the outdoor terraces have developed a vibrant, almost kitschy aesthetic. The space is heavily populated with densely packed rows of golden deities and bodhisattvas, reflecting a grassroots approach to devotion. The absence of official monastics shifts the spiritual ownership directly to the community. The sanctuary is cleaned, maintained, and sustained entirely by the everyday people it watches over. Turn around at the edge of the plateau and receive the ultimate reward for the climb, a sweeping, unobstructed panorama stretching across the lush mountains and down into the sprawling valley of Sha Tin. The contrast is absolute. You stand in deep, incense-filled silence, while golden statues gaze directly out at the high-speed glass and steel chaos of the city just a few hundred feet below. The genius of this site is that it does not try to build a wall between you and modern Hong Kong. It uses elevation to reframe the city, turning a source of stress into a silent landscape. True spiritual tranquility in the modern world is rarely found by running away from civilization. Sometimes you just have to do the grueling, deliberate work to climb above it, catch your breath, and finally see it clearly.